Hello everyone, this is Nisa. Welcome back to my channel English by Nisa. Today we'll be discussing the explanation of the poem Punishment in the Kindergarten written by Kamala Das. So before going to the explanation, firstly let us know about the poet, that is Kamala Das. Kamala Das was an Indo-Anglican writer. Kamala Das was born in Malabar region of Kerala. She was known for her confessional mode of poetry. Most of her poems are based on personal experiences. Punishment in the Kindergarten is a poem that dramatizes the trauma that she had undergone when she was at the school in kindergarten. Her writings are written in Malayalam as well as in English. She is Madhvi Kutty to her Malayalam readers and Kamala Das to her English patrons. Madhvi Kutty is her pseudonym, pen name. The poem Punishment in the Kindergarten is taken from the autobiographical writing My Story. As a child studying in kindergarten, Kamala Das went on a picnic to Victoria Garden in Calcutta along with her classmates and teacher. Kindergarten is a school for young children below the age of 5. It is this picnic day she is recalling in this short poem. She was then 5 years old. As she was sitting alone without mingling with her schoolmates, her blue frock teacher scolded her. She still remembers the day. Her feelings were hurt by the teacher's scolding. She even felt ashamed of that incident when her schoolmates laughed at her. Years passed by and now Kamala Das has become an adult woman, but still remembers that picnic day. She though feels that she need not remember the incident. Still it comes to her mind. Kamala Das still feels that the pain cannot be forgotten. The whole poem juxtaposes the past and the present, childhood innocence and the adult experience. Now let's discuss about the theme. The theme of the poem is the nostalgia theme because it's talk about her own past experience. So that's why the theme is nostalgia. Now let us discuss the explanation of the poem. Today the world is little more my own. No need to remember the pain. A blue frock woman cows throwing words at me like pots and pans to drain that honey-colored day of peace. Why don't you join the others? What a peculiar child you are. Now the poet is saying that even though speakers say no need to remember the picnic day, it is not possible for her to forget it. Its effect is deep in her mind and emotionally she is disturbed, so she would ever be able to forget it completely. She is saying that the world is hers and feels that there is no need to remember the pain. After she impresses that she is free from the deep form impression of pain. The blue frock woman was her teacher, who scolded her for being alone in the garden. With her hurting words, she drained her and caused pain, which made a deep impression in her mind. She also disturbed her peace and could not understand her. She compares her hurting words to pots and pans. The punishment given by the insensitive teacher to the poet Kamala Das. The insensitive teacher scolded her, throwing words and hurting her, which drained her peace and joy of the day. The words made deep impression in her mind and she contemplates the incident for a long time. She considered it a punishment because it trained her. The words hurt her and created a dot of pain which was unforgotten. She also compares the pain using the objects like pots and pans. It means that the words were picking and totally disturbed her peace of mind. The images of people was strong enough to making an impression. On the whole, it was punishment at the tender age of innocence. On the lawn in cluster sat my schoolmates sipping sugarcane. They turn and laugh. Children are funny things. They laugh in midst of others. Tears. I buried my face in the sun-warm hedge and smelled the flowers and the pain. So here the poet is saying that the poet was sitting near the hedge all alone without mingling with her classmates. While her classmates were enjoying themselves, sipping sugarcane juice, sitting in the lawn, the poet teacher noticed this and scolded her for not being mingled with her classmates. Her classmates laughed at her while she was scolded. According to the poet, it's natural for children to laugh when others are suffering. The reason for this is that children are not mature as an adult and cannot understand the occasion, so they simply laugh when others are scolded. They do not understand the suffering of the particular individual who is scolded. For them, it is a fun to enjoy. The reason is that children are innocent and inexperienced. They laugh at the moment and understand the seriousness of the situation only if it is explained to them. Words like smelling flowers and the pain project the suffering the poet was facing. Flowers are sweet, and flower which smells sweet represents the happy days of one's life. Similarly, smelling pain is the sorrowful days of one's life. If we discuss in simple words, she was very much astonished to see her classmates' response against her insult. She says that they were sipping sugar cane and are hearing bad remarks of teacher. They all felt happy. They were happy on her tears. They laughed at her. And the poets feel that the children are the funny things. They laugh at the others' sorrows and enjoyed others' tears too. She was angry with the schoolmates for laughing at her, and she felt insulted. So she held her face in the sun-warm hedge where the pain and the smell of the flowers mingled with each other. The words are muffled now. The laughing face is only a blur. The years have sped along, stopping briefly at beloved health and moving sadly on. My mind has found an adult peace. No need to remember that picnic day when I lay hidden by a hedge, watching the steel white sun standing lonely in the sky. So here the poet is describing that she is an adult now. She says that being an adult, she is fully matured now. She could speak freely now. After a lapse of so many years, the poet says that her words are now muffled or quieter. The incident that happened at the picnic has now become blur or not clear. The faces of her classmates who laughed when her teacher scolded her have now become less clear. In fact, the poet could not forget the incident even when she grew up. However, the words used by the characters and their faces are falling away slowly. Though time has held her feelings about the incident, still she feels and recollects the fading faces and scolding words of the insensitive teacher. Even if she remembers now, that incident would no more pain her, because she got an adult peace, which means settled peace and immortal. She also means that she gained maturity and self-settledness. She finally reveals the capacity of her understanding of the world. In these lines, the poet effectively expresses and describes the core idea and thoughts. In the last line, I lay hidden by a hedge, watching the steel white sun, standing lonely in the sky, means the sun is remembered as being lonely in the sky. The state of the sun in the story is related to poet's condition of being alone near the dense green bushes. Loneliness is feeling of staying alone without any companion and also a state of mind. Solitude is a fine, tender and peaceful state with self-settledness of the mind. So if we conclude the last stanza, she is saying that she is matured into an adult. The faces of her friends are blurred, they are dim. She has found an adult peace now. She is not as sensitive as she was in her childhood. She feels that there is no need to remember the pain of her teacher's punishment on a fair picnic day, as she has found adult peace now. But she doesn't need to remember the punishment even of her childhood, but still that things are imprinted on her mind, on her memory, and still that insulted haunts her. So the central idea of this poem is that one may experience happy occasions and sorrowful moments in one's life, especially during one's childhood days. Very often such happenings remain for a long time in one's mind. Even in the later years of one's life, one cannot forget such occasion. At last, in a faded form, this reminiscences come back to one's mind. In this poem, Kamala Das wanted to point out that happy incidents in life are easily forgotten, whereas sorrowful incidents in life are not easily forgotten. The poet also thought that children took certain things seriously in their childhood, but once they become adult, they will try to forget them. Thus, Kamala Das narrates her childhood experience in this poem. So, if you like this poem, stay tuned. There will be much more coming soon. Thanks a lot.